When you travel back to the 1940s, a lot happened. World War II. And because of that, the number of immigrants increased as well. That's where our story begins, in 1940, New York, New York. There were people all around. They could hear at least 10 or more different languages. His head was spinning, almost as if he was on a roller coaster. His name was Dominic. Next to him was his lovely wife, Rose. They met when she was only 16 years old, and him a whole 10 years older. Dominic had two wives before her. Neither spoke English, but only their native language of Italian. This new world of America seemed scary to them, but they felt confident. At first, work was very hard to find. Even by themselves, they were relatively poor, but they cherished life and the traditions they had, such as on New Year's Day. They would open the doors on the outside and ishavud the bad spirits, and welcome the good spirits into the home. Another tradition they carried was big Sunday dinners as a family. Rose worked magic in the kitchen. The clang of pans, the sizzling of the Italian food, and that kitchen smelled so good. Walking home from work, my papi would tell me, was the best part of the week. I couldn't get work done all day dreaming about those juicy meatballs and marinara, electrifying my taste buds and making the pains of the week go away. Dominic made homemade wine and his family drank it in Sunday dinner. It tasted so sweet, as if you were transported into a world of its own. It was so good, Papi's mouth watered at his lips as he described it out loud. I asked him if they'd ever saw the wine, and he retorted, "No, it was only personal, to give to friends and family." Papi talked forever about how his parents were blessed to have 9 children, but likewise he wasn't. Like any large immigrant family, they were poor and had lots of troubles coming their way. Papi would tell me one specific moment in his life that he would remember forever. After settling in for a few years, Dominic did not feel so well after work, tired and weak. He went to lie down and fall asleep, and sadly, would never wake up again. Dominic DiMantova had died of a heart attack. When they got married, Papi distinctly remembers Rose telling him the story of how Rose said to Dominic, "I no die, Dominic, you die instead." Rose went into a deep depression, and now she was a widow at a young age and had 9 children. There was no TV, no radio for 2 years, Papi told me, and Rose wore black for another 5 years before dressing normal again. Another problem was keeping 9 children at home, safe now, and having to find a job. The oldest of the children quit school to support the family. One night, when my papi came home from school, he opened the door to see his mother Rose sitting at the kitchen table on a Sunday night. The checks hadn't come in yet, and it was tough being poor in America. "We have no food," she said, when Papi opened the cabinet, and a lonely $5 bill was what he saw. He talked to his mother and tried to encourage her. That night, he went out and got supplies and fed the entire family dinner. It was like magic, Papi told me. But if losing your husband and being poor weren't enough problems, Papi's brother, Salvatore, was working his first day in the Empire State Building when he went to get on the elevator and the floor was not there. They say he was crushed to a pulp, but no one really knows what happened to Salvatore. His body was never found, Papi sadly retold. He was only 16 years old, and you can imagine the pain that Rose went through, first losing her husband, and now one of her dearest children. A cloud hung over the DiMantovas' heads for the next few years. They would find their way to get through things because they believed and knew that there was hope at the end of their tunnel. And there was. A few years later, Rose would meet a man that helped her achieve her greatest accomplishment yet, opening their own restaurant. The man's name was Orgy, and he was wonderful. After getting married, they decided what to do with their future. They debated in the kitchen for hours, like a presidential debate, right behind the closed doors of the kids who would one day propose the idea and then the other would shoot it down. They finally agreed on an Italian restaurant, its name, the Mona Lisa. They would create a place where hospitality was a dish served often, and they sat guests down with wine. It became so popular that celebrities from Broadway would even come to see them. It was a happy future. Straight out of high school, my papi met my mima, whose parents had come over from Germany. They were perfect for each other and got married on June 6, 1959. Later in life, with 4 sisters, my father, the middle child, met my mom, the youngest of 3 kids, in college. They got married on September 18, 1993, and they had me, my sister, and my little brother. The boys of the family are the only ones left carrying the DiMantova name, but we wear it with pride. Even today, I never met my great-grandma Rose or my great-stepfather Orge, but knowing their story gives me hope to see how much adversity they had to get through. Papi tells this story so well, and I hope that one day I'll tell the story of how 3 generations ago, my great-grandparents took a leap of faith, and that one makes me stand here today.